Good day, everyone. Welcome to our discussion this morning. My name is Christopher Gatdula, and my partner who will report later, Del Plotado. We will discuss presentation, practice, and production, or PPP model. So what is PPP model? Its definition: presentation, practice, production is a method for teaching structures in a foreign language, divided into three phases, moving from tight teacher control to greater learner freedom. It follows common sense and does not require much advanced pedagogy. Origin: the origins of PPP and of the explicit attention to activity sequencing issues can be traced back to the mid-20th century, when PPP became the adopted teaching sequence by the structural methods, the North American audiolingual method, the British situational language teaching method, and the French audiovisual method. PPP adapts well the teaching structures. 1. Oral exposure in teacher modeling in P1 or presentation. 2. Drills or controlled practice in P2. 3. Transference of the previously studied structures to different situations in P3 or production. Threats and theories. Among many methods, the PPP is a successful one and is widely used throughout the world by many English as a foreign language or EFL and English as a second language or ESL teachers. It is a modern equivalent of the audiolingualism method, which dates to the 1940s. As you can see in this model, in the first stage, presentation, the teacher presents the target language through using pictures, objects, or other materials, present a real-life situation that will serve as the context for the language lesson. Another thing, it gives model sentences. In the second stage, which is practice, students practice new language items. Students do individual and choral repetition of the model sentences, correct students' mistakes, and repeat drills, model repetition. And finally, in the last stage, which is production, they use their own ideas to talk about themselves, like students create their own sentences applicable to the context.
Now let us discuss about the presentation, practice, and production. So what is presentation? The first stage is called presentation. This stage usually consists of two steps: an introductory activity such as a warm-up or a lead-in, which is an activity intended to raise students' interest in the topic, and an introduction of the target language. Here, the teacher gives explanation on the grammar and the vocabulary of the topic to be recovered. The second stage is practice. Its focus is on the form. The teacher provides opportunities for students to practice the learned items in a controlled way. This is a chance for the students to use what they have learned without making mistakes. The students are monitored and all the mistakes are corrected. A common controlled activity can be in the form of an oral exercise targeted at individual students or in the form of worksheets. And third, the production stage. It focuses on fluency and provides students with an opportunity to personalize the language learned by doing less controlled tasks, that is, by using their own ideas. In this stage, the students start to produce language more freely. For example, they might be given role-play situation to devise and act out. Now, let's proceed to the advantages and disadvantages of the PPP method. It's easy to learn for new teachers, easy to plan for, and has a logical progression. Teachers can break the complex language into manageable chunks. Students can put into practice what they have learned. While the disadvantages are: weaker learners may overuse the target language from the practice session. Learners may not be sure how to use target language in different contexts, and it can be boring if used repeatedly for higher levels. Here are the examples and assessments. In presentation, the first part of presentation would be introducing the meaning of a new language. This could be a written definition or a flashcard or a spoken description of a phrase or idiom's meaning. The teacher must use clear examples so that students can see correct usage. An example might be a sample dialogue or a sentence written on a board, but students will need to see the new language being used naturally. In practice, this is where teachers are likely to insert worksheets or games. The practice phase can be long, containing multiple activities to best reach the entire class. There is a good chance that this takes up more time than any other phase of the PPP method. However, drilling can also be brief if the new language is simple and easy for a particular class to grasp. At this point, it is up to the teacher to determine the best course of action based on the needs of the students. In production, this is where the students use what they have just learned to synthesize new examples, either in written or spoken form. Testing would also be considered production, especially if it requires production of language elements in new configurations. For the integration of faith and learning, from the Book of Education by Ellen G. White, it says, "More important than the acquirement of foreign languages, living or dead, is the ability to write and speak one's mother tongue with ease and accuracy. But no training gained through a knowledge of grammatical rules can compare in importance with the study of language from a higher point of view. With this study, to a great degree, is bound up life's will or woe." In addition, the chief requisite of a language is that it be pure and kind and true, the outward expression of an inward grace. God says in Philippians 4 verse 8, "Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think of these things. And if such are the thoughts, such will be the expression." Before we end this presentation, let us watch this video.
So for today, we're actually going to talk about something that I hope is familiar for everybody. I have here a photo of this. What is this? What do you see here? Lotto card. It's a lotto card, or it's a lottery ticket, right? So how many here plays the lottery?
No.
Or do you know anyone who does? Like your mom, dad, friend, family member? Nobody? Wow. You know, I read the news just this morning that officially the lottery winning number or the prize pool is up to $60 million. Really? It's really big. So I guess with your 40 bucks, you can get, I guess, 60 million. So my question is, if you win that $60 million, what would you do? If you won, rather, that $60 million, what would you do with that money? Let's hear from Chad.
Probably a huge part of it. I'll save it for a business.
Alright, so half of it, or would you say more than half?
More than that.
More than half. Alright, you're going to save it up. How about Abby? What are you going to do if you won that large amount of money?
I will buy my dream house
Your dream house.
and sports car.
And the sports car. Alright. Similarly, actually, I have an answer like that too. Let's hear from Gab.
If I will win that large money, I will rather buy a business or a company, a built-in company.
A built-in company. I have something in mind for you. Imagine that's you, just throwing away all the money that we have in the world. Okay, so for me,
Same answer.
I know, right? You read my mind. Okay, if I won the lottery, I would buy a big house
Confidence.
and a sports car. Similar, right? Okay, so let's look at this sentence carefully. What do you notice with this sentence? It started with the word if. Okay, so if. Okay, what verb form comes after if? What's the verb after if? In the sentence, for example.
One.
It's one. Okay. Is it in the present or in the past?
Pass.
Past tense. Okay. It's in the past tense. So I'll ask you now. Do you think I have a lot of money? When I say a lot, let's say $60 million. Do I have that kind of money? Okay. Do you think I have that kind of money? Soon. Hopefully. I hope so, but to tell you honestly, I don't have that kind of money. This is me dreaming of having a lot of money, and this is what I would do if I would win the lottery. Okay? So what we did actually is similar to another condition in the English grammar that we call the second conditional. Let's have another example. Abby, please read the sentence.
Ben wants to buy a house, but he can't do this because he doesn't have any money.
Right? So this is Ben. He wants to buy a house, but he does not have any money to do it. Right? So he is imagining, he's wishing that he would have a lot of money so that he can buy a house. So his sentence would be, if I had a lot of money, I would buy a big house. Okay? So basically, when you talk about second conditional, we have the past tense simple, simple past, or whatever the verb here is in this sentence. The verb is had. Okay. And in the main clause, which is after the comma, would plus the base form of the verb. What is the base form of the verb? It's the simplest word of the verb. In this case, it's the word buy. I would buy, I would sell, I would do something like that. Okay? The second conditional refers to the present and the future. It expresses an unreal situation. What do you mean by unreal?
Impossible.
It's impossible. Or it's not true. Okay, it will not happen or it cannot happen in this case. Okay? So for example, in this sentence, Sheila, please read this.
If dogs had wings, they would be able to fly.
Okay, so is this true? Do dogs have wings? No, they don't. So that's why we use the second conditional. How about this next sentence? Chad, please read.
If I were you, I would drive more carefully in the rain.
Alright, so this is more like giving an advice to someone. Okay, so always remember that when you're using the second conditional, what's the clause? What's the form of the verb here? Verb should be the simple past, and then this would be would plus base form of the verb. Okay, excellent. Now we're going to have another activity. This is called what would you do if? So you guys will be paired into two pairs. Gab and Abby, Chad and Sheila will be paired off. So I want you to bring out a piece of paper and Gab will be student B. Now what you would do is you're going to ask each other these questions. Okay, so later on, afterwards we're going to hear their answers.
She could travel, she would.
Okay, are we done? Are you guys done? Yes, please. Alright, perfect. So let's hear from the first pair, Sheila and Chad. Yes.
If Chad chose, you could travel faster than light, then Chad answer is, if Chad could travel faster than light, travel than light, he would go to place that he wants to go.
Student A. I asked her if she could travel, when will she go to? And her answer is, if God could travel faster than light, she would go to London right now.
Alright, okay. I asked Abby, what would you do if you were smarter than everyone else? So Abby answered, if Abby was smarter than everyone else, she would build an airline business.
Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, good job. So how do we use, what's the structure or form of the second conditional once again? We have if plus
Simple past tense.
simple past tense of the verb, and the main clause would be, what would you add? What modal? Would. Would plus the base form of the verb. Okay, so we use the second conditional for when how do we use the second conditional? For situations that are
Impossible.
okay, impossible and unreal. Alright, everyone, thank you so much.